Tonight on CFTK-TV News, we will learn a bit more about Dempsey Bob's latest exhibit. The Bulkley Valley exhibition is said to turn 105 years old, and Canada's inflation rate is the lowest it's been in a very long time.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cal Maslin, and here's what's making the news in the Northwest and beyond for today. As the next season of fall approaches, the District of Kitimat and BC Transit recently announced that they are working together to put out a new service expansion in Kitimat. The expansion is set to take effect on September 1st, and its main goal will be to make improvements to the city's early morning transit options. At the start of the new school year, Route 99 Special, which is operational from September to June during school hours and travels to Mount Elizabeth Middle Secondary School, will get up and running again. But this time, a new route for early in the morning is set to be added to Route 4 Crosstown in the district's total service expansion. The expansion was said to have been made possible by more funding coming from places like the latest BC provincial budget. A lifetime of studying dimension, perspective, and art has culminated in Dempsey Bob's living legacy of pieces with sculptures and artworks finding forever homes in galleries and private collections across the globe. But recently, Bob has created a collection close to home that honors his family's legacy. CFTK-TV's Jaylene Matthews caught up with Dempsey Bob to hear about the exhibit.
This show is called Salmon Cannery Days, and Dempsey Bob says it's because he grew up in and around the cannery at Port Edward.
And I've been doing pieces with the theme of salmon because the salmon was central to our culture. It gave us time to carve, gave us time to do our art. What I did was with the show was I wanted to honor our ancestors that were cannery workers and fishermen. Because my dad worked in the cannery, my mom worked in the cannery, my grandfather, my whole family, my brothers, sisters, I worked there, and we all worked there. And it was really important to me because it's part of my heritage now. Our people, First Nations, have worked in the canneries for over 120 years.
Bob says he realized how significant the canneries were because out of that Port Edward Nelson Brothers cannery came many artists like himself.
And that's really significant because, it was a melting pot of nations, like there was Japanese there, Chinese, and also there was Haidas, Tlinkits, Tsimshian, Gitsan, Nishkas, Salish, there was Carriers, there was all different nations of our people. And what was really good about that time was that our culture was still strong and we shared and we helped each other. And we all had a job and we worked. And I was part of it, and so I wanted to express that. I wanted to express that to people, and plus I just want to make a statement about the salmon too, We're getting less and less salmon. It's really scary now. Chief he's holding a salmon here. And this is part of my life and it's part of my heritage and that's what I'm showing and that's what an artist does, a real artist. That's what I thought about when I did that.
Salmon Cannery Days runs through the end of September at the North Pacific Cannery National Historic Site. For CFTK News, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
With over a century of availability to the public, the Bulkley Valley exhibition is once again making its return to the Northwest. Here's CFTK's Damian Smith with more.
Located in Smithers, we're now on to year number 105 at the Bulkley Valley exhibition, with this year's theme as Ribbons, Rides, and Rodeo. And starting this Thursday and running until Sunday, this attraction will be wooing in people from around the Northwest as we wrap up the summer. Live performances will be keeping people busy with Alabama Band and Rage Against the Machine tributes, along with the Northwest's own Mark Perry. The BCRA Rodeo will be there, which is always a big hit at the BVX. And of course, many rides will be available to those who desire to step foot on the Shooting Star amusements. For CFTK, I'm Damian Smith.
Coming up next, the Vancouver Aquarium has 2 brand new residents. Welcome back. The Saskatchewan national government says fish spawning activity is being delayed in the Chilcoot River after it was temporarily dammed by a massive landslide last month. It says river conditions are slowly improving, but debris and sediment from the slide are impacting sockeye and Chinook salmon spawning runs. A task force report says fish monitoring equipment at the slide site has only detected a few dozen Chinook and sockeye passing through at a time when thousands would be expected to be moving through. It says the hope is for the fish to make it on their own and avoid intervening unless absolutely necessary. Gas prices have remained steady during the summer driving season, but now with kids heading back to school in a few weeks, commuters could see prices fall by double digits. CTV's Craig Krause reports on what's behind the potential drop.
You might have noticed gas prices in Metro Vancouver are much cheaper this summer compared to past.
It's a big change, but I don't understand how the gas goes from one price to another.
A swing of about 35 cents from last year.
Sometimes down, sometimes up.
A downward trend when there's more demand because more people drive during the summer months. Usually, that means prices go up. But this year, prices remain low, despite new fuel taxes and a weak Canadian dollar.
A lot of mystery to why these prices have really turtled and collapsed. They're a sign, perhaps, that the markets, or at least energy traders, believe that we are in a full-blown recession.
Something one economist says Canada is flirting with.
Certainly by the end of this year, the real question is whether interest rates have stayed too high for too long. The lag effects are substantial, so it takes a long time for higher interest rates to hit the economy, but it also takes a long time for lower interest rates to help the economy.
He says that could take around 18 months to 2 years, and a third consecutive rate cut could be coming in a few weeks after data shows Canada's annual inflation rate fell to 2.5% last month during a time when many people are just getting by.
When I get work done, get my pay, it goes right back into bills right away, you know what I mean?
And as everyday British Columbians continue to watch their spending, there could be further relief here at the pumps in mid-September, with prices being reduced by about 10 cents as stations switch over to the winter fuel blends. Craig Crowe, CTV News, Surrey.
The Vancouver Aquarium is welcoming 2 rescued otter pups. They were both found abandoned on Vancouver Island earlier this summer, and as CTV's Isabella Zavarisi reports, it's been a long road to nurse the pups back to health, but their future looks bright.
Just a few days at her new home, Tofino is already making herself comfortable, indulging in a belly buffet.
They're so fun. They're a lot of work, but they're so cute, so they're so fun.
The sea otter pup is a little over 3.5 months old. She was rescued with another pup, Luna, earlier this summer off the west coast of the island.
Tofino and Luna were found by people who were walking the beach and hiking, and they were alone.
The otters were abandoned by their mothers. The team at the aquarium now stepping in to fill that role.
We've been doing 24-hour care now for a few months with them, and so it's a lot.
Luna is still in critical care and staff are closely monitoring her. This is her at the Marine Mammal Rescue Society.
Oh, sorry.
But Tofino is growing quickly. She's still getting a bottle, but is already starting to eat solids.
Not every animal makes it through the rehabilitation process, so every time they hit a milestone, it's very special for us, seeing them grow and thrive.
And for the public, too.
I heard about these otters through the news. Like, I'm staying here, I come from Toronto, and I just wanted to see them. And when I saw this, I go, wow, now I know what the big deal are. They're so cute.
Eventually, when they get bigger and stronger, they'll be able to mingle with the other otters. The aquarium sees Tofino and Luna as ambassadors for their species.
We have this really amazing opportunity now is to make connection with guests that come through who want to learn about them, who then care about them, and then help, be part of their conservation story.
A story the Vancouver Aquarium is happy to contribute to. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
Turning to tonight's weather, the north coast will see a few clouds as well as a low at 11 degrees. The Terrace-Kitimat area should be home to a few clouds, but include their own low of 10 degrees. And the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District is expected to be partly cloudy and deal with a low at 7 degrees. On the north coast, the week for them might have a tad bit of sun at the start, but then be all clouds and rain after that, while the high bounces between 18 and 14 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, the upcoming week is set to also see some sun to begin, but then transition over to all rain and clouds as the high shifts from 26 to 13 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, the next week or so is again set to have sun at the start, before getting pretty much all clouds and rain, while the high moves between 25 and 14 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. On Highway 16, there is a special travel advisory: utility work, road maintenance work, bridge maintenance, construction work, crack sealing, paving operations, and the Usk Ferry is currently out of service for maintenance and because of the low river level. Highway 118 has some bridge construction, Highway 37 has some maintenance and fog patches, 37A has road maintenance work and bridge maintenance, some construction work and maintenance on the Nishka Highway, and the Telegraph Creek Road has fog patches. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the View of the Province's highway cams. Still to come is a look at some of the more notable people supporting Kamala Harris. Welcome back. Canada's inflation rate has dropped to its lowest level in 40 months, paving the way for another interest rate cut next month. But as CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver reports, many Canadians are still feeling the financial pinch.
Inflation is coming down across the board, putting slightly less pressure on cash-strapped consumers.
Less goods and services that consumers are purchasing these days are facing high inflation, and that's a really good sign for Canadian households that are still, to some extent just challenged by, elevated interest rates.
The cost of electricity, travel tours, and passenger vehicles is on a steep decline, helping to drive inflation down to 2.5% in July, the lowest since March 2021.
It's no longer a situation of crisis and inflation.
But while price pressures are easing, the sticker price of many goods, including food, isn't.
There are certain things that I won't really buy.
Some of the fruits and vegetables are not up to what they should be, price-wise.
All-day beverage.
Tasso Vasilis owns a bar and grill and feels the same way. He hasn't seen any relief in his day-to-day costs, making margins even smaller.
The wages, the food, the transportation, electricity, just everything. And you can't charge like $14 for a cup of coffee. So sometimes you got to bite the bullet on some stuff.
But economists say these are all signs the economy is slowing, and that is likely to mean more interest rate cuts from the Bank of Canada.
For now, it's encouraging evidence. It keeps the Bank of Canada on track with the conviction necessary to cut again by a quarter point in September. We have at least one or two more cuts coming thereafter toward the end of this year.
Political parties have always had their famous supporters, and conventions are no different. CTV's Andrea Case has a look at the stars who have hitched their wagon to Kamala Harris's presidential campaign.
The Soul Children of Chicago kicked off the night with their rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. Beyonce wasn't there, but her music was. Vice President and Democratic nominee Kamala Harris surprised Dems walking out to her theme song, Freedom by Beyonce. Even those closest to her seemed surprised. From a hopeful future president to a fictitious one. Actor, director, and activist Tony Goldwyn, who played the president on the TV drama Scandal, was the evening's host. His TV co-star, Kerry Washington, will host the convention on Thursday, Mindy Kaling on Wednesday, and The View co-host Ana Navarro tonight. Offstage at adjacent events this week, appearances by John Legend, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, Jon Stewart, and Lil Jon. Fresh off his Team USA men's basketball gold medal win at the Olympics, former Chicago Bulls player turned Team USA coach Steve Kerr.
I know very well that speaking out about politics these days comes with risks. I can see the shut up and whistle tweets being fired off as we speak. But I also knew as soon as I was asked that it was too important as an American citizen not to speak up in an election of this magnitude.
Country singer Mickey Guyton is a familiar face to Democrats. She campaigned for President Biden and Barack Obama. Folk singer Jason Isbell performed early in the evening, but Grammy winner James Taylor's performance between Jill and Joe Biden's speeches was cut because the program ran too long. Conventions always draw celebrities. Jason Aldean, Kid Rock, and professional wrestler Hulk Hogan, as well as Dana White, Lee Greenwood, and Amber Rose appeared at the Republican National Convention. You could mistake this man for Cuba Gooding Jr., but this man was Stephen Colbert, shooting a segment for his late-night show.
If you own a vehicle, you've probably used an automatic car wash at some point, and chances are you didn't have any issues, but occasionally cars are damaged during the car wash process, and if that happens, you might be surprised by who is held responsible for the repairs. CTV's Pat Ford has more.
At this Esso station in Scarborough, there is a Circle K automatic car wash. In June of this year, Richard Prague was using the car wash when all of a sudden it came to a complete stop.
I used the ultimate car wash at soft cloth. It jammed up against my fender.
Prague says when he left the car wash, he inspected his SUV and found a large dent on the passenger side of his 2022 Honda Pilot.
Their machine malfunctioned, bumped up against my front fender and put a big dent.
Prague told the car wash manager what happened. Repairing the dent will cost almost $3,000.
We don't have access to the video surveillance, so unless we had a dash cam or something, we have no proof.
Circle K agreed to an investigation, but the company said there was no proof the dent was caused by the car wash and the case was closed. A spokesperson also told CTV News, "We have received the complaint about this issue. Following a thorough review by our operations team, we found no evidence of responsibility on our part." A month after the incident, there is still a sign at the car wash that says currently the ultimate wash is unavailable. That's the wash option Prague used. You are taking a bit of a risk anytime you use an automatic car wash, according to Circle K's website. Circle K shall not be liable for any damage or injury whatsoever caused by the car wash, including damage caused to you, the vehicle, your property, or to any person in your vehicle. The Insurance Bureau of Canada says damage caused by a car wash could be covered by the car wash's liability policy, but if they won't pay, the owner may have to go through their own insurance. The Pragues say if they make a claim, they'll have to pay a $1,000 deductible.
Quite an expensive cost for us when it's not even our fault.
And now we turn our attention to the stock markets. The Canadian dollar is up 19 cents. The price of gold is down $3.10. Oil is down $1.24. Natural gas is down 2 cents. Aluminum is up $56.50. In Toronto, the TSX is up 84.29 points. The Venture Index is up 6.49. In New York, the Dow Jones is up 55.52, and NASDAQ is up 102.05. Still ahead is a story of a man who managed to survive a bear attack. Welcome back. A California man spoke out after surviving a bear attack. The young father went from jogging to running for his life. Here's Adahita Jafari with his story.
You know, her ears were back. Her arms were like up like this while she was running.
For one man, jogging down this path in a matter of seconds,
I just didn't want to die. Like, I really did want to die.
Turned into running for his life.
And I started coming down the hill.
Monday morning, Quanah Ottaway decided to get some exercise.
And I saw the cub.
In what he describes as basically his backyard.
And then the mama just charged at me.
By the time he saw the female bear, it was too late.
She jumped up on me and like scratched my back, pushed me down into a ravine.
With some quick thinking, he grabbed a stick.
And then I hit her in the face with the stick just like one good time, and it like knocked her head like to the side. And then that gave me like the split second to just sprint.
That decision saved his life.
I just can't even believe it, like the distance, because people say you can't run from bears. They're like 30 to 35 miles an hour. But I sprint that whole way with her on my tail within like 3 feet.
Ottaway says he only had one thought the whole time.
Just hauled as fast as I could. And I was like thinking about my kids. Glad I didn't take my kids with me.
He quickly made his way on top of this SUV. Neighbors heard the commotion and came out to help.
I just was saying like, help, bear, as loud as I could.
The neighbors began making loud noises, and one even threw a log at the bear to get it to leave.
I had ripped my shirt up like and tied it around my leg on that Escalade because I just saw that like, oh my God, it's so deep. I know that there's an artery somewhere in there. It's a numb pain, and you know you got cut deep or something. That's how it felt.
Vancouver Island police say a 40-year-old man was issued a 90-day roadside driving prohibition after he crashed into a residential fence. West Shore RCMP say no one was injured in the crash. They say officers and firefighters were called to the scene where witnesses reported the driver of the 1993 BMW that crashed into the fence had slurred speech. Police say the man failed a roadside breathalyzer test and his vehicle was impounded for 30 days in addition to the 90-day prohibition. That's our news for now. From everyone at CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin. Thank you for watching.